Hi guys, welcome back to another beautiful tutorial with eco designs to fit. My name is Chinwendo. In case you're coming here for the very first time, from thumbnail of this very tutorial you already know what we're going to be making. This is going to be a shirt top, and if this is what you are interested in learning, stay tuned until the end of this tutorial. Now this is going to be a very long shirt and a free shirt. It's also going to be coming with a long sleeve and a cuff. Okay, so if this is what you are interested in learning, stay tuned until the end of this tutorial. Now I've placed my fabric on top the table and we are going to be cutting out the fronts. Okay, so first of all, you're going to mark out a starting line. This starting line is going to also serve as the shoulder line. So what you're going to do is to go ahead and mark yours on your fabric, and from the starting line go ahead and mark out the length of this top. I want this top to be really long, so that's why I'm going to be making it 31 inches plus sewing allowance. Okay, that is the hemming allowance, which is going to be 1 inch. So from the starting line I'm going to mark out my bust point, which is 11 inches, the waistline 18 inches, and then the hip is going to be 27 inches, and then length of the top. I already told you what the length of the top is, although you are not able to see it completely. Okay, now from the folded end you're going to have to come in by 2.5 inches, and this 2.5 inches is going to be serving as allowance for our button placket. And you're just going to go ahead and use your straight ruler and connect this line from the starting point, that is the shoulder line, down to the hem of your top. So you guys, you can see that this fabric is really very hard to work with. So if you're a beginner, you can make use of Ankara print for this. Okay, so guys, after connecting the line, all we are going to be marking out now is going to start after this bottom placket line. Okay, don't forget to mark out that 2.5 inches because it's very important. Okay, so now you're going to have to divide your shoulder into two, and once you are done dividing it, mine is 7.5 inches plus half an inch for sewing allowance. Okay, now once you are done with that, go ahead and divide your armhole by 2. Whatever you have, place your tape on the shoulder line and then mark down, and that will be your chest line. Okay, from that same shoulder line again, you're going to come down by 1 inch, which is going to be your shoulder slope, and you're going to connect the shoulder slope and the chest line together. Okay, now once you are done with that, from the bottom placket line, that is the 2 inches on the shoulder line, you're going to come in by 2.5 inches, and the depth you're going to also use 2.5 inches. This is for you not to have a wider neckline. Okay, because our shirt is not supposed to have a wide neckline. Okay, so remember that what I made use was 2.5 inches. Okay, because once you are done sewing this, you're going to have 3 inches in total. So you're going to connect the shoulder slope into the neckline, and then go down and divide your armhole depth by 2. Whatever you have, you mark the center and then go in by half an inch and connect your front armhole. Now once you are done with this, next step is for you to divide your bust circumference by 4. Whatever you have, place it on the 2.5 inches mark on the bust point and then mark it out. And then because I want this shirt to be very free, I'm going to add ease allowance of 1 inch plus 1 inch for my stitching allowance. Once you are done with that, go down to your waistline, divide your waist circumference by 4 plus 1 inch for ease and then 1 for stitching allowance. Go down to your hip line, divide your hip circumference by 4, add up your ease allowance 1 inch plus 1 inch for sewing allowance. Now whatever you have on the hip line, you're going to take it down to the length of this top and you're going to go ahead and connect the lines together. Okay, so I've connected my lines. I'm trying to adjust it. All right, and next step I'm going to take now is to fold in my button placket. Okay, because for us to cut out the back, we don't need to cut out with the button placket, so you're going to have to fold it inside and then you cut out your neckline. Please don't forget to fold before you cut out your neckline. I'm still going to explain the reason by the time I open this up. Okay, and you can see once you are done with that, go ahead and cut out your front shirt. Okay, now because I want the length of the down part of this shirt to be curvy at the down part, I don't want it straight. I'm going to go in by 2 inches, just as you can see me doing like this, and then the hem I'm going to divide it into 2 and then note the center and connect to the 2 inches mark. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and cut it out. So you can see how the hem is looking like. Okay, now that we are done with that, we are going to bring in our pieces for the back. Now what you're going to do is from the top of your fabric, you're going to go down by 2.5 inches. Okay, so endeavor to mark out 2.5 inches before placing in your fronts. Okay, so that is going to serve as the starting line. Now I'm going to bring in the front piece and then I will place it on the back. Okay, so you can see, so the only difference with the back and the front is that the back is not going to be having button plackets. Okay, and the neckline I'm going to make use of depth of 1/2 inch, so that by the time we sew this, we are going to have 1 inch. Okay, remember that the neck of your shirt dresses is not always deep. Okay, so now because we want to have a come down at the shoulder of our shirts, we are going to have to remove 1 inch. Okay, or should I say we are supposed to remove 1 inch from the shoulder of the fronts, but now because you are cutting on fabric, you are going to have to remove 1/2 inch, and the remaining 1/2 inch you are going to use it as your shoulder stitching allowance. I hope you guys understand me. Okay, so you can see that I've marked out 1/2 inch, and now because we want a come down on our shoulder, you're going to replace this 1 inch to the back. Okay, but now we are going to replace 1.5 inches. Why? Because we need 1/2 inch for shoulder stitching allowance also. Okay, so in total what we remove from the front is 1/2 inch, and what we replaced at the back is 1.5 inches. I hope you guys understand. Okay, but if you are cutting this on the pattern, you're going to have to remove 1 inch on the front shoulder and replace 1 inch at the back shoulder. Okay, in that case, when you are cutting out on fabric, you are going to have to put in half an inch for shoulder sewing allowance. I hope you guys understand. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. As you can see, so you can see that I have 1.5 inches right there, and after I sew this, it's going to come down just like this. Okay, so guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the front armhole, which you can see me doing right now. Okay, and once I am done cutting it out, I'm going to remove the back piece, and then we open up our button placket. Okay, so you can see how the neckline of our front is looking like. That's why you have to fold in your button plackets before you cut out the neckline, okay, so that the neck wouldn't be wider. Okay, so now we are done. It's time for us to cut out the sleeve. So I've brought in my fabric for the sleeve. I'm going to cut out the two sleeves as once. Okay, so I've folded my fabric into 4. Now I'm going to mark out a starting line. Okay, which is going to serve as the top of our sleeve. Now you're going to mark down to 21 inches. Now let me explain something. The total length of this sleeve is going to be 25 inches. Remember that I said it's going to be having a cuff at the down part, so I'm minusing the cuff right now, and I marked 21 inches and then added half an inch for joining to the cuff. That's why you can see that I made it 21.5 inches. Now guys, on the cap height line, which is 4 inches, I'm going to mark my armhole divided by 2, 10. So you can see I've marked in my cap height, and I'm going to connect it to the grain line of my sleeve. Now to get your cap height, you're going to have to divide your bust circumference by 12 plus 0.5 inches. After you have marked this line, you're going to divide this line again into 2 equal parts and then mark the center. Now after you mark the center, you're going to go up by half an inch. Okay, and then once you're done with that, you're going to have to use your curve ruler and connect from this half an inch into the grain line that is the top of your sleeve. Okay, and then you're going to equally turn your curve ruler and then connect to the side of your sleeve just like this. So you guys, I won't be able to explain this sleeve properly well because I have a detailed tutorial on how to cut a sleeve pattern on this channel, so you can go have a look at that. Okay, so you guys, equally trying to mark out the front sleeve right now. Okay, so that is literally what I am trying to do. And once I am done with this, I'm going to go down to the down part of my sleeve, that is the wrist, and I'll measure my wrist divided by 2. Okay, now I'm going to be needing pleating allowance. I added 2 inches for that, and then I added 1 inch for sewing allowance, and then connected it to the top of my sleeve. Okay, so guys, I'm going to measure to ensure that I have what I want. So what I have there is 11 inches, meaning that I have 10 inches for my armhole and then 1 inch for sewing allowance, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. Okay, so you can see what I am doing. So once I am done, I'm going to go ahead and open up this sleeve for you guys to see. I have my 2 sleeves right here already, so I'm going to open it up, and then I will place it right side facing each other so that I'll be able to cut out the front armhole. Okay, Remember that what I cut right there was the back armhole. So you can see I'm going to place the sleeve right side facing each other and then trim out the front armhole. Okay, you guys, once I am done with this, I'm going to label it the front and the back. Okay, I'm going to equally turn to the other sleeve and label front and back. Now that we are done with this, let me fold the sleeve for you guys to see what it looks like. You can see that the front armhole is a little bit inside. Okay, now that we are done with this, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the piece which you are going to use to cut out the cuff. For this my cuff, I've folded it into 4 because I want to cut out the 2 cuff at the same time, one for the right and one for the left. I'm going to fold it into 2 just like this, and please remember that the hem is on fold. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to divide my wrist circumference by 2 and add 1 inch for sewing allowance, and I'll go ahead and cut it out. Okay, so you can see what we have right here. Okay, I'm going to equally open it up so that you guys can understand properly well. Okay, so because of the pleating allowance I added, you can see I'm going to pleat it into the cuff just like this. Now for the cuff of our sleeve to sit properly well on the wrists, okay, I'm going to go ahead and place my tape on the side seam just like this and go in by 1 inch, which is the stitching allowance, and then from that place I'm going to go in by 2.5 inches, and from the hem of this my sleeve I'm going to go up by 3.5 inches, and I'm going to mark it. Okay, just like this. Now what's next I'm going to do is to go ahead and place my sleeve, the 2 sleeve together, because I want to slit the 2 at once. So I'm trying to arrange it, and once I am done I'm going to use my scissors to cut through. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to cut, and before I get to the 3.5 inches mark I'm going to cut triangular just like this. Okay, so guys, this is where I'll be ending the part 1 of this very tutorial. Hopefully I will see you in the sewing part. Bye.